Hello, everybody, and welcome to the pilot episode of the First Possible podcast. What this is basically just a little four-person group talk that we're going to try to do every Friday, hopefully. We're going to stream it and we're going to record it. And we're just going to go around and just talk about things that are happening in the gaming world every week. Right now, there's going to be four of us. One of our regulars is not here right now, but there is me, Firefang, and then we are also going to have Just Call Me X.
Hi.
And Katsa.
Hello.
And Turtle.
Hi.
He will be filling in for Heather this week. Heather's on vacation, but she will be joining us hopefully in the weeks to come. So basically what we're going to be doing here is every week we'll start off like this, and then we're going to begin with a little segment of favorites. We're going to have a different favorite topic each week, and we're just going to go around and say what our favorite something is. For instance, this week being episode 1, we thought it'd be only appropriate to talk about what our favorite video game is. We'll go around, each give our reasons for why we like a particular game that we do, and then after that we're going to move on to a bit of a news segment where we each pick a piece of news that's happened in the gaming industry over the last week and just discuss it, what our thoughts are about it. And then we'll see how everything goes from there. As always, input is appreciated, so if you have any thoughts, feel free to comment in any such way. On YouTube, the links to each of our channels and news articles will be in the description. So if anybody wants to check anybody else out or leave feedback, that would be more than appreciated. So, let's kick things off and see how this goes. We're going to start, like I said, this week with our favorite video game. So, X, what do you got?
Well, let me just start off with the fact that Turtle is got some fans going on here.
Oh dear.
They're both scrubs. Just ignore them.
They're like, hey, Turtle, heart, heart.
Oh my god. I love you. I love you guys too. I mean, I'm so famous now.
You just started and you're already going up there, man.
Stick with us, we'll take you far.
But I'm not even starting.
It happens.
Yep. So my favorite game, geez, man, probably hard to say. I'm between League of Legends and World of Warcraft. I like League of Legends for the player versus player in a way that I can actually do good, and the teamwork that goes in it, as well as World of Warcraft for the same reason, the teamwork and the healing and classes, because there's not a lot of MMORPGs that actually have healing classes where you can work as a team like that, because a lot of people think healer classes are complete and utter waste, because then they feel that you can't actually play the game without a healer.
Makes sense.
And they don't want the need for a healer, even though I think that's a great thing, because it seems like it's BS to go through something that's supposed to be difficult without someone taking care of you, health-wise.
That's one of the few instances I do like somebody taking care of me, though. Like, I want to be able to play the game my way, not have to worry about, fixing myself the whole time.
Well, and also, not a lot of people like to play healers, so people get really frustrated when they're forced on the healer role all the time, so they're trying to remove that frustration aspect and let everyone just play what they want.
Understandable.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So yeah, those are my favorite games, League and WoW, but sorry I didn't have one.
Yeah, two's just as good.
And now there's Sweet Turtle, Dancing Turtle, Singing Turtles, Showering Turtles. Turtle is getting real popular.
Why is Turtle showering?
What the hell's happening?
I'm not totally
Stream is
sure.
going mad.
Fun.
Alright.
Mad with turtles.
Alrighty. Alright, Katsa, what do you got?
So, my favorite game is the rebooted Tomb Raiders. For a lot of reasons. Like, one of the obvious reasons is I'm a female gamer. It's a kick-ass female character. That will win me over in any game, any movie, anytime. But in addition to that, like, with all of the archaeology things going on, like, I went to school as an anthropology major, which is kind of the big brother to archaeology. So when I'm playing the game, I get the references and I understand, like, the impact of, like, these cultures she's finding and the stuff that she's coming across. So I'm like, this is so cool. And I really like the gameplay too, how it transitions from, like, shooting to puzzles to just all sorts of variety, and it transitions so smoothly. And the cinematics, I'm always a huge fan of when you can blend cinematics and gameplay in a way where one is not heavily clobbering the other. And I just really love those games overall for all of those reasons. They're gonna be my favorite for a while.
Were those the ones that had like Ellen Page as the main character, or is that a different thing I'm thinking of?
I don't remember what the name of the main character is. Well, the Laura Croft obviously is the main character, but I don't
Yeah.
know who plays her voices or anything. But they did do a lot of CGI capture, motion capture.
Okay.
And some of the behind the scenes is really cool on how they did that.
All right. So I remember there were
So
some
let
games
a
that
lot more
came
life.
out where like I think it was Ellen Page who like provided the character model and stuff like that. I can't remember if it was those.
Oh no, I think I know what you're talking about, but I'm probably gonna have to Google it.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
If it's not on Nintendo, I don't know anything about it. That's my downfall here. It's like, I think I may have seen something at E3 once about this thing, and that's the entirety of my knowledge about it.
That's the story.
Right. That's how I
all there
work.
is.
I will watch all of E3 to get to the Nintendo panel and kind of block out half the information. So,
I will like remember everything, get a lot of opinions about everything, and then a day later forget everything, all the details that funded the ideas. I just remember the ideas.
sounds about right. Yep. Cool. All right, Turtle, how about you?
Alright, well, took a while to think about, but I'm gonna have to say that my favorite game is Minecraft. And it's because I never did PC gaming at all until I picked up Minecraft, like however many years back. And eventually it led me to find Steam, because my friends told me, who also played Minecraft, that Steam existed. And that's what I do every day, because I have no life.
That's pretty awesome, though.
I do very distinctly remember, like, basically every time we spoke for, like, the year after you first discovered Minecraft, you only ever spoke to me about Minecraft, and I was fucking sick of hearing about it. Because that was the only thing you ever said. And then finally one day I bought it just to make you shut up about it.
And look at you now.
Yeah, and then that ended up, like, boosting my entire gaming experience to what it is now.
Something that's not Nintendo.
Right. Actually, it was. That was the first non-Nintendo game I ever had.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
That's funny. And then I remember I joined.
Although I did. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I joined right after. It was right after version 1.5.2 came out, and everybody was pissed off because the skeletons changed, so everybody hated
yeah.
the game. But that was when I joined, so it just seemed normal to me, so I didn't care. And I'm like, why is everybody so mad all the time? Yeah.
Although I did look up the Ellen Page thing, and the game you're thinking of is The Last of Us.
Really?
Because
I thought
that's
there-
one where they used her voice, and they did like a little girl who looks a lot like her.
Maybe it's not Ellen Page I'm thinking of. I don't remember. Whatever. Something. Anyway, not too worried about that. I was just curious. So, all right. Well, I've had my favorite game ingrained in my head ever since I played it, and it's The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. And anybody who knows Twilight Princess is gonna hate me for this, but I like the Wii version the best. And everybody will tell you it's the worst version, but that was the version that I bought. And it was the first console game that I ever really bought for myself. And the only reason I bought it was because it had a wolf on the cover.
Nice.
I didn't know anything about it. I was in Best Buy with my grandmother, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. It's got a wolf on it. And then I turned the cover over. I'm like, you can turn into a wolf? Well, that's fucking awesome. So I think I brought it home.
Sign
and-
me up.
Yeah, that was like my exposure into like the true gaming world, so to speak, because I'd had like my parents' original Nintendo from ages back, and like they had bought a Wii, but that came with like Wii Sports and shit. But this was like my first
Oh yeah.
mainstream like video game, I suppose. So it's kind of what introduced me to it. It's what made me love the consoles and what got me into Nintendo, and kind of this and Minecraft propelled me to where I am today. And it's the reason I know way too much.
I really enjoyed Twilight Princess, and I had it on the Wii too, and I really liked how the controls, like, you kind of get involved with everything and stuff.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just like, oh, I'm just sitting on the couch hitting buttons.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they could be finicky, but you just figure it out and you're good to go.
Yeah, it never really
I
hindered
really
me.
like that game too.
It was great.
Oh.
It's still one of my favorites. It's still my favorite to this day.
Nice.
It's a lot of fun.
Zud agrees with you on the Wii U.
What about it?
Cool.
He
We're all
agrees
friends here.
that he prefers it on the Wii U as well.
Yeah. I have 3 versions of it. I have the GameCube, the Wii, and the Wii U version.
And they all want me to show them Turtles instead of Portal
Okay.
too. And it's been basically just Turtle this, show us Turtle, show us Turtle. So
Apparently Turtle's like the unsung hero of this, and we didn't even know.
chat's
I'm just so good that I didn't even know I was this good.
Oh, thanks for the sub. That's awesome. I appreciate that.
Woohoo!
I'm so glad
Oh,
my
cool.
notifications decided to not fucking work. That's
undeniable truths.
Oh, he's a jerk.
fucking Streamlabs. Thank you, though. I appreciate it. I really do. That's awesome. I'm sorry the alerts are not working. That's it. I will click the button right now to make it work, and it'll fucking work. I promise you. But whenever a person does it, it's like, nah. Anyway, so yeah, I do appreciate that. Thank you.
Yay!
Alrighty. So, news time. Each of us has a news article we picked out from the last week or so. Could be about something that's happened, could be something up and coming, could be reminiscent of something that's happened in the past, but we're just going to go down the list here and each discuss what's been going on for a little bit. So, X, you got something to start with?
News-wise, yes. So, in 2018, that's when this game supposedly is to come out, Marvel's Spider-Man game for the PS4 will be coming out. Not a lot of information is given about the game, but as far as gameplay goes, it reminds me a lot of a game I played in my childhood, which I've mentioned before. And like,
Spider-Man.
you can walk around with the people during the daytime, because Spider-Man's a daytime person. Overnight, I guess he does both, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's kind of a 24/7 guy.
Yeah. And oh my gosh, gotta give me a moment, because this is a lot of nostalgia, since this was my childhood. This is the game I played non-stop as a video game. Because I'm more of a PC guy, but this is one of the little console games that I would sit at the couch and just play.
So, is this focusing more on like the Spider-Man reboot, or is this like a remake of an older Spider-Man, or what is this?
I think it's more so reboot from the styles of the character Spider-Man and the villains. Nothing shows that it's a remake, but the concept of where you can go from playing, it's the entire idea, because a lot of Spider-Man games you were forced to stay in the air. You weren't allowed to go to the ground, because as soon as you get too close to the ground, you're considered dead. You don't even get the chance to lower yourself.
Right, because spiders can't touch the ground.
Yeah, apparently.
Oh no!
But with this game, it goes even further than just allowing you to go down to the ground. You can actually run vertically up a building, which a lot of times Spider-Man has to. The game I played, you had to actually get on fours and crawl up. This time they have him just flat out running up it, as if he was just simply running on the ground. And the combat system is involving a lot of webbing. There's not, oh, I can't use webs. It's uses Spider-Man's powers to the fullest. It's even including the entire spider sense in a way where the player can actually react in time, but not too much to where spider sense gives him full capability.
That's cool.
It's something I am probably going to try to stream/record if we ever get that video capturing device, because I don't think I'm going to miss that for the world.
It'd be interesting to see how that turns out, because the last Spider game, well,
Spider-Man.
Spider game.
last Spider-Man game that I remember was the one for the Wii, and that was notoriously known as one of the worst Wii games out there. And it kind of like crapped on the whole Spider-Man image for a while because it was one of those things where you had to try to use the Wiimote to swing on your web and stuff, and it was just a god awful thing that didn't work. So I'm curious to see. I mean, I've seen things that have pulled off similar mechanics really well since then. Like Attack on Titan sounds like it works very similar to this, where it feels very fluid and natural. So I'm hoping they can do something like that that would make it feel really good, because it's hard to get like that free three-dimensional movement type thing in the air on the ground in the same game. Like usually it's one or the other, which is probably probably why that one you were talking about before didn't allow you to be on the ground. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to see
it's
it.
a whole different set.
Right.
Yeah,
You have to
set of gravity and mechanics and physics for each.
And they're
kind of.
adding so much. The way you fight villains, the way you. I think that it really helped having Dark Souls around, because now they can see how your opponent can actually, like, I think way back then because I remember they made Spider-Man pretty powerful, and it made it pretty easy to take out villains. You hit them a couple times, or you web them and then you hit them. It was pretty easy, but I think after Dark Souls they were able to see what limits a player can actually handle.
Well,
yeah, it's okay to punish players a little bit. Players actually enjoy that sometimes.
sometimes you get
Done
stuck
well.
on a butterfly that you just can't kill, and you quit the game because you can't kill this fucking butterfly.
that too.
Periodically.
I hate that damn butterfly.
There's a balance.
Eventually I just threw fire bombs at it. It's like, fuck this stupid butterfly. I'm sick of your shit.
Oh man.
Yeah, that'll be neat though. If they can pull off a similar combat style to the Batman Arkham games, then that would be cool, I think, because I liked those because it wasn't punishing in the Dark Souls sense, but it was complex and fluid enough where you did have to pay attention. You couldn't just button mash or you'd get hit by something. And
Yeah, you had to earn it. You had to actually
Batman
control.
wasn't invincible by any means. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, those were great games.
that'd be interesting to see how they pull it off.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to say, oh, they're not stupid enough to make a crappy game, but I mean, obviously they have. So
Yeah, it does happen. We don't want to fix it, but
Yeah.
there's always hope that it'll come around.
one day when we have the money for a PS4, we'll give that a shot, I suppose.
I suppose. Is it only going to be on PS4, or is it going to be on other platforms too?
So far it's only showing that it's PS4. Yeah, PS4 seems to be the only thing that is coming out, which I believe is because Spider-Man is a Sony game.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sony owns it
Yeah.
now, don't they?
PlayStation has had a lot of exclusives on the PS4.
That's because they
cow.
were. I'm not saying this to be an asshole. This is complete truth. Sony was having a hard time finding ways to be competitive and to set themselves apart, so they're actually using their money they're making from their gaming division to buy out IPs so they can make them exclusive.
Wow.
That's literally what they've resorted to.
It's kind of how the Xbox 360 got so popular. It was just Halo. Everyone was buying the Xbox from Halo.
Right.
And so they're like, oh, if that's how Xbox beat us, then we'll use that to beat them.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go hardcore on it.
Pretty much.
Which, yeah, and then Microsoft's been canceling all of their exclusives, so they're having a hard time. I mean, I'd rather they cancel a game than release something bad.
Right.
But at the same time, it's been happening so much. It's like, okay, are you ever gonna finish something?
Yeah. And everybody's always going to like Spider-Man, so it's a pretty safe bet for Sony, I guess, to throw Spider-Man on something.
Oh yeah, especially in this age of Marvel everything.
Right. Getting a movie every 2 months about a new superhero, you know.
And they're still breaking box office records.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting, for sure. Cool.
Yep,
Right.
that's all I got for today. So moving
Alright.
on to Katsa.
Yeah, so my news is, so For Honor has finally announced that they're gonna switch everything over to dedicated servers, which is something that everyone's been begging for since they first launched the game with all the network issues. And it's a huge undertaking because obviously, like they say, it's like trying to replace the engine while the engine's running. So it's not an easy thing, but it's kind of one of those things like everyone keeps wondering why they didn't do it that way in the first place, which when you look into it, it kind of makes sense because they were trying to eliminate like host advantages and they were trying to mitigate the amount of money they had. But anyway, now they're switching it over. And so I guess my question to you guys is, do you think that if they switch over to the dedicated servers and all of the network issues go away and the game is actually playable again, do you think that this will be enough to save For Honor and bring it back, or is it too late? Is it just dead? Is it like, oh, sorry, you guys missed your chance?
As far as networking goes, I don't think it's ever really too late to fix a networking issue, especially when a game is as focused on multiplayer as that. The only thing about this that's making me think that that it may not make much of a difference is because I've never played the game myself, but I've kept a pretty close eye on it, because the reason I haven't bought it is twofold. Number one, there is the networking issue that you're talking about. Number two is that the matchmaking system seems to be just complete ass. Like, everybody seems to be complaining about the peer-to-peer system that they have, and I've played games that have that type of matchmaking system, and that is the most abysmal way to matchmake in a video game. I don't understand why it even exists anymore.
Yeah,
So,
and
I mean,
that's what they're going to change with these dedicated servers. They're going to get rid of that. They're going to get rid of all the NAT managing, which was really annoying as somebody who had 2 Xboxes on the same internet. I had to mess with our NAT settings so much.
yeah.
But yeah, so supposedly this is going to fix all of that to make it more stable, make the get rid of the peer-to-peer, so that you can actually, play the game. And as somebody who like pre-ordered it and picked it up like from GameStop at launch, so I could get my pin and everything, I absolutely love the game. Like, the gameplay is phenomenal. The different play styles, the different maps, like, I enjoy the heck out of it. But getting booted every other game and losing all your progress and losing like just so much time, like, it gets so frustrating. So like, I know once they fix it, I'll be back. But I wonder if so many people are just so burned out on it, they're not even gonna bother.
I don't know. I think if they fix it and word gets out there that they have actually fixed it and done well, I think that they're not going to get their whole fan base back, because it was such a letdown, obviously. But if they can make it known that it has been fixed, then I don't think it's unreasonable to suspect that they may be able to get some of the popularity back. Because it was a game that like I said, I was interested in at one point, but I didn't buy it because it's focused on that online multiplayer aspect. And if that one main focus is crap, then there's no point. So maybe if they do fix that, then I'll buy it. But I mean, I wouldn't have known they would fixed it unless you had said something just now.
Hey, Katsa, would you explain what Honor is? Not everyone knows what the game is.
So For Honor is a game by Ubisoft, and it is basically you take samurais versus Vikings versus knights, and you get to see what happens. You get to fight them. There's like a whole there's a short campaign mode where it kind of throws them all together, and you can see kind of how this world is laid out, that everyone's fighting each other. But there's a lot of focus on like the physicality of the gameplay. Like, you have to like actually pay attention to which direction you're blocking with your sword. You have things like maces that kind of hit a little bit different. You can't necessarily block them in the same ways. You have daggers, long swords, katanas, and every character has a completely different play style, which makes it really interesting to kind of figure out which strategies work, match them up. And then there's they're all played on objective-based maps where you control points, or you can do straight-up duels, 1v1, 3v3s. And it's basically a multiplayer game, and it's a lot of fun, and it's cool. So yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of the big thing that appealed to me about it, was that it does seem to focus pretty heavily on historical accuracy and realism and stuff like that. And there's a lot of games that sacrifice that just for gameplay's sake, but every once in a while it's nice to have a good game, especially with, like, everybody loves Vikings and samurais and stuff. So it's fun to throw in something as popular and accessible as that, with that sense of realism for those people who want it.
Yeah, and they still take some liberties because it's still a game, and you still have to keep it balanced, so that everyone has a fair chance of winning, like fair relative to your skill level to actually pull off the strategy. And another interesting thing too is they do seasons, so it's kind of like Pokemon Go, where everyone picks a team. There's 3 different teams, so like Team Samurai, Team Viking, Team Knight. You can play as any characters in the actual game, but depending on how well you do in your games, you get these points that you can distribute on the map. And so it's kind of like Risk, where you have like this whole map and you try to take over territories and defend other territories. And whatever team wins at the end of the round wins that round. And then those maps will actually start to have insignias from your team. And the maps will actually change from season to season based on who's taken over which territories. And then there's like, at the end of, there's like 5 or 10 rounds. I don't remember how many. But at the end of the season, they add up all the rounds, and then one team gets, you know, a whole bunch of extra loot and skins and stuff, and everyone else gets like little frames or whatever. And so that's another aspect where it really encourages the community to come together and like stand for your team and take over this map, which makes it even more frustrating when you get booted halfway through a game because you're trying to get those last minute points in to win this territory, and now you're losing all your points, so you're going to lose that territory because your game didn't count. Which, when it's the end of the season and everyone's logging in, I remember I couldn't even get a single game in over 2 hours because everyone is logging in to get that last minute push to win those territories.
Yeah, that doesn't seem right at all.
Yeah, so they really botched the way they set up their network. Which, like, I kind of get where they were going, because there were some advantages they were looking at with it, but it just was not executed well, and it was way too ambitious for what they could do. Because I mean, Destiny, I've learned, has a really interesting networking system where it is a combination of dedicated servers, peer-to-peer, and then some like hybrid stuff in between. And it's such a masterpiece and such a complex system. When you're playing it, you don't even know the difference. Like, the game runs so smoothly and so amazing, but they put the time and they focused on the network from day one with the expectations of having millions of people, and they made it as robust as possible. Whereas for Honor, it feels like they were so focused on the gameplay that they kind of were like, oops, oh yeah, we have to do this network thing.
Well, that's kind of what I was going to ask, was what were the advantages they were thinking they were going to get with a peer-to-peer system? Because I haven't seen a peer-to-peer system that works better than a dedicated server.
Well, for one thing, they were thinking, because obviously there's the money thing. They don't want to pay for 100 servers when they can just have everyone peer-to-peer hook up. Also, latency issues, because since it is a competitive game, if one player is closer to the dedicated servers and another player is further away, then the player that's further away is going to have a disadvantage. So they're trying to eliminate any disadvantages with that. And also, in typical peer-to-peer systems, there is usually like one host and then everyone else is just hanging out. But they made it so that but then that one host usually will have a slight advantage of like a split second ahead of everyone else because they are the one hosting it.
Right.
So what they did was they made everyone the host. So all 5, let's see, what is it, 4v4, so it's like 8 to 10 players, all of them are hosts, which means that everyone has the exact same advantage. So between not worrying about distances from servers, the theory was, in competitive moments where it comes down to a split second of blocking that attack, no one would be at an advantage. But unfortunately, that created a lot of issues. So like, if one person rage quits, the entire game freezes. They have to reset the network because that person was one of the hosts. And since there's 5 hosts, there's a whole bunch of like webbed interconnectivity going on. So it's, when you pull one post out of it, there's a lot that needs to be fixed to fill that hole. And so that's where you get the lag and the issues and the freezes. And it just did not work out at all the way they wanted it to.
Well, yeah, hopefully whatever they do then will fix that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would love to play that game. Like, I've always kind of had like
a phenomenal game. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it looks like plenty of fun, and I've always had kind of this affinity for the Vikings and Norse mythology and stuff like that. But there's a lack of games where you really get to feel like a Viking, I guess, so to speak. And
yeah.
I feel like this is one of those ones where you could potentially, if they could just get it right, if they could get the networking right.
Don't they have a game that's actually basically Minecraft Viking style?
Probably, but I guarantee you it doesn't make you feel like a damn Viking.
When This one you get to straight up like you have this axe in your hand and you like scream at the other person and you charge over them and literally like shoulder butt them and then lift them over your shoulder and throw them on the ground and then turn around and smack them in the head.
See, I want to be
great.
like full on Stoic the Vast with my big beard and hat and fur cloak thing and just body slam the shit out of some knight and knock him into like a spike or something like that. Like how many games are there
they
where
have
I can do
spikes.
that?
They have spikes, you can do that.
Oh, I
so
bet.
You can actually, and Vikings have the most annoying charges that you can't block. So yeah, if they come charging after you,
That's
you
'cause
better hope
they
you're
are
standing near a spike.
Basically dump trucks wearing fur.
Exactly, and you can customize your skins and stuff too, so you can make sure you're having all the furry equipment if,
Oh, good.
if that's what you want.
Yeah, if I'm gonna be a Viking, I may as well be a furry too, I suppose.
Gotta
Tackle
both,
both of those at once.
gotta both furries.
Right?
I mean, with the beard and the chest hair, you're already halfway there.
That is true.
You're a Viking.
I mean, I could be a Viking except for the fact that I'm 6'140". You know, if I just
You're
gain,
almost there.
if I gain like 300 pounds, I could be a Viking.
There you go.
Chardo, any thoughts about the game?
I don't really have much input in it. I haven't paid much attention to Honor.
Alright, because everyone really wants you to come back.
Oh.
Turtle.
Well, what I was thinking in the back of my head is, even if they do make all these network changes and perfect like the gameplay, so like your shit actually stays even after you're done playing, I have a feeling that the player base will have a hard time getting back to it. Because most of the time when a big new release comes out like this, people play it for like a month or so and then never touch it again.
Yeah.
You'll never get all those players back.
Yeah. I'm just hoping they can get enough back to keep the game alive and keep
Yeah.
it going, because I don't want to see it die. I want to see
Yeah.
it keep going. And luckily, like, and a lot of people rage about the microtransaction system and the steal and everything, but actually that is kind of the one thing that will help it to survive past the launch, is if there's enough of a player base to sustain it and to, you know, keep paying for the servers,
Yep.
then the game can keep going on.
So I'm looking at Steam count right now, and it says there's 4,000 people currently playing the game on Steam.
Yeah, it dropped a lot. I guess it was originally like 75,000 or a million, or it was
All-time
something
highest peak is 71,000.
71. So okay, so I was closer to my 75.
Average daily high is about 8,500, so it looks like it's between 4,000 and 8,000 per day, roughly. Which, I mean,
Yeah,
it's enough where you're not ever going to have a problem with finding a match, I suppose, but it should be
and
more.
That's just Steam. I mean, there's still the Xbox players and the PlayStation players, because it is cross-platform. Too.
Yeah.
Which, it's funny, you can always tell who the PC gamers are because they can spam their emotes a little bit differently than the console players.
Yeah.
So when they start spamming it, I'm like, oh, that's a PC person.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, it's great. So yeah, so that's like the only number people really know, but there's no idea how many are on console. So luckily, the potential is that they have 3 times that.
Yeah, I mean, it's never. I don't think it's going to get low enough where it's going to shut down, and they're only going to get more people, I think, when they make this change. So as long as there's still those dedicated people that want to play it, I don't think there's any real concern.
Yeah.
So it is kind of sad though, because that game did have so much potential and it kind of flopped the way it did. It's going to be hard to bring that back.
Yeah, and as somebody who played the game, who loved the game, it was super frustrating because it's like I loved it, but it drove me nuts, but I loved it, and then
Right.
I convinced my husband to get a copy, and he would just play like one match and then just like rage quit. He's like, no, like I'm not dealing with this.
Yeah, that's me in games with guns, which is why I don't play them. Everybody is better than me when they have a gun in a game, so I just don't even bother. Like,
Oh.
how do you turn the camera? Oh, I'm dead. Well.
GG, well played.
Yeah, fuck this. Even
That was a quick game.
even unturned, it's like, all right, I can't do this. Do you have a bow?
Give me-
Can I just be over
Give me
here
an
with like
axe.
a pitchfork?
Yeah.
I could just imagine giving you an axe and letting you play like a Viking character in Call of Duty. Just ah!
I would do that. I would just
Have
use my push to talk and just yell at everyone.
don't they have a tomahawk in Call of Duty?
They might in one of them. I don't know. There's
Yeah.
so many Call of Duty.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. I'm more on the Halo Destiny side of shooters, so I don't know what goes on that side.
I think they have a
See.
tomahawk, but you can only throw it.
I
Um,
don't play shooters.
Yeah.
like at all.
Turtle and I have like no input on
But
shooters
then how
at
do
all.
you shoot people?
We-
Shooting people is a
Well,
very important part of
I
everyone's
find
diet.
it much more satisfying to stab somebody with a flaming sword than to just shoot them with the gun, because if you this is gonna get really weird here. If I
Go for it.
like stab somebody and just kind of watch the life slowly drain out of their eyes, it's a lot more satisfying than to just shoot somebody and be like, well, that's it,
Sounds like something
I don't
straight
know.
out of The Following.
basically.
Like the only shooter game I play is Rising Storm 2, which is like this fairly realistic like Vietnam era shooter, and it's got all sorts of like little nifty features, but it's suffering from For Honor syndrome, as I'll call it, where
Oh,
it's killing itself. It's just gone.
Yeah,
It's been out for like 2 or 3 months, and it's like half of what it used to be.
yeah.
oh man.
Sounds kind of like Ark.
To me, shooting and stabbing are like fruits and vegetables. You need a healthy dose of both. So I got my Neverwinter and I've got my Destiny. I'm good.
I'll shoot somebody with a bow.
Bows are great.
I'll tell you the root of my problem here. The first video game console I ever owned that ever required aiming was a Wii. So I had motion controls. I went from
yeah.
that to a PC where I had a mouse, and then I went to a Wii U, which had motion controls. Everything I've had has either been mouse or motion controls, so I can't aim with a joystick.
Well, I had that same issue because we only had GameCubes, and the GameCube didn't have many shooter games, and whatever it did have, my mom wouldn't let us get it. She was very strict on anything mature or teen. But
Yep, same here.
yeah, so I didn't get to play my first shooter game until I think it was my senior year in high school, and we finally got an Xbox for like Black Friday, and we got Halo. And I remember I had the same issue. Like I kept looking at my feet or the sky. I was like, how does this work? This is wizardry. I don't.
Oh,
this
yeah.
is awful.
What?
But my
Coordination.
brother, yeah, what is this? But my brother got super into the PvP, and it's one of those things. We only have one Xbox, and if I want to play Halo, I have to play. It helps if we just play the same mode, because then we don't have to trade off. And so, and I started out just terrible. It was so bad, but I hated it. But I forced myself to play it so much that I got better, and now I just dominate everything. And I'm like, yes, shooters are amazing. But that initial learning curve, especially for like anyone who didn't grow up playing with those cameras, is just abysmal. It is. But once you learn it, it's actually now hard for me to play it any other way, because it's like the one console's my feet and the other console's my head. And so if I'm playing on any other medium, I'm like, I can't turn my head. I can't function like this. I need to go back to my controller.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Alright, let's go ahead and move to Turtle.
Turtle!
All right. Highly esteemed, apparently. I wanted to talk about the Dota 2 International 7.
Ooh,
Okay.
yeah.
For those
Yeah,
of us
it
who
was-
don't know, do elaborate.
Well, Dota 2 is a MOBA game. It's pretty much League of Legends. Just if anybody who played either of them heard me say that, they'd break my arms.
Yeah, I would. I would break your arms.
Well, I just want to go out on a limb here and say that I have 2,000 hours on Dota, so I prefer it greatly.
Well, I understand.
Well, I mean,
I understand
League is.
kind of similarities.
I mean, League is a ripoff of Dota. there's no denying that.
All right. Anyway, let's not have that debate here. I just
Let's
wanna
not
talk
get
about
into a
how
fist fight on our
there
first
is
podcast.
a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of money behind TI7.
Oh,
TI7, the base prize pool was $24 million.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Which is obviously a lot for a video game. It's the most money ever given in a competitive video game ever.
it's awesome.
Third place, which was this year, was LGD Forever Young. That was the team. They got $2.5 million. Second place, Newbie, got $4 million, and first place got almost $11 million.
Where does the money for this prize pool come from? Is it just from
Valve?
Fan.
Valve every year gives $1 million to it as a base prize pool, and the fan base buying in-game cosmetics and stuff. There's no pay to win in Dota, it's all just cosmetics. It contributes to the
yeah.
prize pool slowly.
And there are so many fans that it just explodes.
Yeah, so $25 million.
It's insane.
That's nuts.
Yeah,
I heard. Oh, go ahead.
No, that's what I have.
I was gonna say, I heard that, like, and I didn't actually watch the international tournament because I'm more of a League of Legends person, but I heard that they had an AI come out and
Oh yeah.
play one of the top players. So did you end up seeing that, or?
I never saw it, but I heard about it, and apparently the AI kicked his ass.
Yeah, like royally. Like he actually forfeited. He was like, I need to go home and like practice specifically to beat this bot because I am not going to be able to beat this bot like right now because this is ridiculous. And that to me was really cool. That's pretty interesting. And it kind of makes me wonder if they're ever going to share that technology with people who actually make the game so that we could get more interesting AI bots like in practice against, or just as practice tools. I mean, it still won't replace anything for like players because the bots would just destroy everything and then it would be boring.
Yeah.
But as a practice tool, it would be really cool.
Katsa, don't you remember Doom?
Doom.
When the AI bots were basically Earth times 8?
Oh, League of Legends, the Doom bots. Yeah. I thought you were talking about the game Doom, and I was like,
I was like, Doom had bots?
No.
I was so confused about the segue.
I'm talking about, don't you remember those?
Those were pretty funny, but the bots weren't necessarily intelligent. They just had insane cooldowns and all the mana and health they could want. Like that's just, let's buff the heck out of them until you can't stop them.
I mean,
it's so entertaining.
They were stoppable. It's just.
Yeah. Well, they still kept it somewhat reasonable, so you could still, play the game. But
Yeah, so it'd still be fun.
You had to be really good to actually win.
Yeah, but I mean, like a 2-year-old could be really good if you give him a bazooka.
Yeah.
2-year-olds can still take out a Navy SEAL if you give them a big enough gun.
Yeah, and enough distance. But yeah, that's a whole other topic. But yeah, exactly.
So this is an interesting fact. The prize pool from the Dota 2 is bigger than the Super Bowl prize pool.
Yeah.
I believe it. Yeah.
He said each player gets $107,000 and a winning Super Bowl team. However, there's more football players than Dota 2 players.
I am curious though about the viewer base for the last Super Bowl as opposed to the last Dota tournament.
I'm really curious
too,
because
you don't make buffalo wings for Dota. That's the one difference here I really see. But yeah, the I can't even speak. But long story short, it's just a lot of money to be won through a video game.
Yeah, it is. It's really absurd. But like,
yeah.
I don't know. If it has the audience, I guess I don't see why not. But there's still that part of your brain that's like, this is a freaking video game, and they're getting paid this much for this crap.
Well, football players, they're freaking just running down a field and they're getting paid millions of dollars. Like,
Yeah.
oh, look, through a ball.
You get paid $107,000 to get your ass kicked by human trucks, basically.
Yeah, it's just a matter of who has the longer career.
Yeah.
The guy's getting hit by trucks.
Who can stave off brain damage the longest?
Yeah. Although another interesting thing is because League of Legends, their prize pool, like obviously it's not as much, but it does come close sometimes. But a big interesting look at Dota's esports scene versus League of Legends is how the players are paid, because since Dota just does the tournament, like all of the money is funneled into that tournament. So if you win it, you do really good. If you lose it, well, now you're kind of screwed, and you better hope your alternate forms of money are going to work out well.
Yeah.
As opposed to League of Legends, their system with their leagues and their actual like teams and systems, and they actually have like basically an NFL setup. The players get paid throughout the seasons and get paid pretty consistently. There's been a lot of debates about it and a lot of changes to it lately, but basically if you're a player, you're going to get paid and you're going to have money, and then anything you win on top of that is a bonus and an extra. It's this is cool. So there's the all or nothing in Dota, or the sustained like actual sports league style in league, and it's interesting because overall it actually kind of balances out to where they're giving out relatively the same money, if not a little bit more on League of Legends side, but it's also curious from the player's perspective of which league do you actually want to play for.
I saw this. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just reading from what your chat. 550,000 people watch the internationals on Twitch, around 200,000 in game client itself, but apparently 111 million people watched the Super Bowl. So about was that 750,000 people actually watched? Was it Dota that we've been talking about?
Yep. Dota.
And then 111 million people watch Super Bowl, and yet the prize pool doesn't
Right.
seem to.
Think about that. That's like 150 times the viewership and less money for the participants.
Well, the viewer thing makes sense because, like I said before, you eat buffalo wings while you watch the Super Bowl, and you don't do that when you watch Dota. So
Why
that's
not?
why there's more people watching. I don't understand the money thing. That's just outrageous.
I want to know where I can understand the Valve thing, yeah, but how do they actually get that much money from it?
I mean,
They have to, I suppose, because I remember seeing something a while ago. I can't remember if it was a League player or a Dota player, but he got sponsored $1 million a year just to play.
Well,
Like-
Doesn't surprise me.
Well, and to kind of add to that, League of Legends last year supposedly had 14.7 million concurrent viewers during their Worlds tournament.
Jesus,
So, which is basically their international tournament, like Tota's.
Mhm.
that's insane to think that there's that many people that watch that.
Yeah,
Le-
and then
League of
according-
Legends is actually the more popular game. Sorry for interrupting, but
Oh, go
it
ahead.
actually
No,
has
go
a
ahead.
larger player base.
Yeah,
Weird. That's
Zed,
freaking video
Zed
games.
mentioned.
Yes.
Zed mentioned how Valve has CS:GO and Dota. Valve also does things like Portal, and weren't they also the creators of that real popular game that I have yet to play?
They did Left 4
Left 4
Dead.
Dead?
Left 4 Dead, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, they've got some big games behind them, and Steam has obviously been a massive success. So Valve definitely has the money for it.
Oh yeah, that's not a problem.
Imagine if they
Who
actually
does
put out Left 4
H1Z1?
Dead 3 one of these days.
Who made H1Z1?
I don't remember.
That-
Ooh.
That was in. Was
Supposedly
that
that
indie?
one's getting really popular. They're getting more and more money in there.
Can't spell H1Z1. That's
Daybreak
embarrassing.
Game
Oh.
Company.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's indie, I think.
Oh, okay.
That's a good point, Zed.
Okay.
Zed was mentioning about how he was pointing out CS:GO and Dota specifically because of the microtransactions,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
all the
Well,
cosmetics.
CS:GO. Sorry, I was gonna say CS:GO. Their basically Super Bowl last year. They were actually broadcasting it in Buffalo Wild Wings around the country. So you could
That's
actually go
cool.
into Buffalo Wild Wings and watch the CS:GO finals. It was like
Wow.
that is awesome.
That sounds amazing. I'd watch it just for the fact that it's an actual game instead of.
Yeah,
football.
well, and now in Vegas, there's a hotel that's setting up a huge club specifically for watching esports, betting on esports, and it's basically like a small arena with like restaurants and everything like that, but it's all catered to esports. So Vegas is really ramping up to take advantage of the growing esports scene and really become a big player in it. And so it's really exciting to see a lot of big name players taking interest and seeing it grow.
And about H1Z1, they were apparently they also made PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, which is as
Oh,
I
okay, 'cause
think
that was the other
everyone
one I was
knows.
gonna
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as everyone knows, they're pretty popular right now.
Yeah, both of those games have been getting a lot of hype and a lot of a bigger esports scene. They've been climbing the ranks.
Yep, I think they're the most viewed, or at least top 5, top 3, maybe even with the league, to be viewed on Twitch.
Maybe it's just me because I don't play shooters because I don't like them, but why does it seem like it's exactly the same as like 50 other games before it? Why is this one so popular?
I
No, Player on the
PlayerUnknown.
Battlegrounds.
I think
Oh,
that
yeah.
it's popular for the fact that it has the survive. It has a survival time limit, and there's more from what I've seen so far. There's been more actual skill requirements, such as shooting. A lot of CS:GO type games, the shooting only required point and kill, but with Player Unknown Battlegrounds, since it's such a larger map, you actually need to work on shooting much further away because there's such an so much open space that if you run out in the middle of the field, you will obviously die quickly and easily. So you have to learn a lot more tactics and getting around without dying. And you're going against what, hundreds of people?
Yeah, I think it's 100.
Yeah, in one game. I think it gives players more of a accurate feeling to surviving
Okay.
than just simply going around killing randomly.
All right.
Yeah, I think there's a few things going on because for one, like older games like Counter-Strike Go and stuff, I think, and I don't know if this is accurate. I haven't actually researched it, but I'm pretty sure older games were more about have fun shooting your friends and then a competitive scene grows out of it. Whereas a lot of the newer games are specifically focused on, like Xxayder said, like what's more difficult, what's more strategy focused. And so it feels more satisfying as a competitive game because it's more balanced or it's more tricky. There's a lot more strategy going on, and also Battle Player Unknown's Battlegrounds. It plays on what people already love and then brings it into today's competitive scene. And then also, with all of the Hunger Games being so popular and everything, that whole battle royale idea of like, can I survive the apocalypse, or can I survive the Hunger Games, or like drop me in a pit with 100 people, will I survive? Can I prove that I'm the best? And the competitive scene thrives on proving if you can be the best. So if you can prove you're the best one out of 100, that is the most exciting thing for a competitive player, is to be able to say that they outwitted everyone else or outplayed or outshot or whatever.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I have a really kind of terrible viewpoint on shooters just because I don't like them. So I have a difficult time seeing the appeal sometimes, I guess, when something becomes popular, because they all kind of look the same to me. And I don't spend the time watching people play them to learn how they're different, because I frankly don't want to watch it. So,
Yeah.
But okay, well, I get it.
Case.
Yeah, I tried. Didn't work. All right, I guess I'll move on to mine then, if that'll wrap that up.
Yep.
So, being the odd one out here, I'm going to probably be focusing on Nintendo quite a bit, because that's what I grew up with. And for those of us who have stuck around Nintendo for a long time and know a lot about Nintendo, we know that there's a long, sad history of really fucking stupid lawsuits filed against Nintendo for the dumbest reasons. Like back in the days when PETA sued Nintendo because they thought that Tanuki Suit Mario was promoting animal cruelty. Or I think like the Vatican sued Nintendo because they thought that Pokemon was promoting the theory of evolution over the theory of creation or some shit. So to add on to this theme of absurdity, this company called GameVice is suing Nintendo for patent infringement over the detachable controllers on the Nintendo Switch. Basically, they're saying they are seeking injunctive relief and monetary damages over alleged patent infringement involving detachable controllers against the Nintendo Switch consoles. Because, for those of you who don't know, GameVice is a company that makes attachments for Android devices. And they created this thing, which is a detachable controller for an Android. So you can play games on your Android with an actual controller. And it's similar in a sense, yeah, but you look at the thing, like there will be a link in the description so you can see this. The only way you can possibly mistake this for a Switch is if you're freaking blind. I mean, there are no similarities. Like,
Well, it's funny because the whole practice of suing people over stupid things is actually really widespread and common in the tech world.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, half the time, like, nobody actually ripped anybody off. It's just a matter of, oh, this guy got it really popular, and now I'm going to roll the dice with the judge and see if I can get some money off of it.
Right.
If I can just, like, prove this point. Although you also see the other thing happening, especially with big companies, like Samsung and stuff. I don't remember the exact examples. My teacher had a bunch, but some companies will actually specifically rip off a certain technology, knowing that they're ripping it off. But the calculated risk is, if I put this in like my phone or whatever, sell like 1 million of them, have a really good product, yes, they're going to sue me, but the amount of money I make off of that phone will more than pay for the lawyer expenses. I can pay for the lawyer expenses and pay for the damages and I will still make 20 times that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's worth spending that.
Sony.
And then they just drag it out in court for 10 years to give themselves more time to make money stuff. And it's just the whole suing wars over everything. It's like, it's more of a game of what can I sue who for to see what happens than anything actually rational on any level.
Yeah. Well, similar to what you were saying, like, the reason nobody really knew what the Switch was until right before it came out was because Nintendo wanted to prevent copycats. They straight up said that on record. And
Oh, yeah.
you look at that, and ever since Sony and Microsoft came into the gaming world, every console they've come out with has come out 6 months after the Nintendo one with a modified version of what they've already done. But there's only one Switch right now. Why? Because Nintendo didn't announce what it was 2 years ahead of time.
Yeah.
So, like, even not a lot of people know this, but the original Sony PlayStation is actually a Nintendo console. Nintendo and Sony were
That would make
originally
sense.
business partners that were trying to develop a console together, and Sony wanted to go with discs, and Nintendo wanted to go with cartridges, and Sony broke the contract, stole the PlayStation, turned it into their own console. That's why they're in the market today. So,
Sounds
literally,
like
from the beginning, they have taken things from Nintendo and turned them into their own. So,
Yeah.
like, and this lawsuit is kind of following the same trend of, well, these people are making money off of it, so I guess I might as well try to take some of that same money, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's surprisingly easy to rip off stuff and get away with it too, because patents are so specific. Like, when you file a patent for something, for one, it kind of reveals what you're making because patents are public.
right.
And so that's why, like, Coca-Cola has never patented their recipe, because as soon as they do that, everyone knows. And so as long as they just pretend that nobody else can copy it, then everyone's like, oh, whatever, it's still a secret. But yeah, but those patents are so specific that if you don't exactly say how this thing is soldered onto this thing and connects to that thing, then you're not gonna be able to prove that it was ripped off because they changed it enough that it's different.
Yeah.
Or on the reverse, you get the people with the Android thing. If there's something in their patent that is very specific about how it connects to the Android, and it happened to be the same way that the Switch did, well, technically, legally speaking, they might have a ground to stand on, even if Nintendo had never even heard of the thing before, just because that weird little detail about where they put the screw into the case can be enough to get them a case, and it's really weird.
Right. This article looks like it's saying that the patent that they're asserting was issued in September 2015, which is well into the development cycle of the Switch. So I don't think they are going to have a case here simply for the fact that this console has been in development since, like, right after the Wii U came out.
Oh, wow.
So, like, I think they started building this thing before the patent was even issued. So, like, I'm curious what kind of grounds these people think they're going to have here. And it's gotten to the point where I can't think of the specific case, but I know for a fact that there was some stupid lawsuit about something against Nintendo, and the judge literally looked at the case and then looked up at the person who was filing the lawsuit and just threw it out right then and there, because he literally just said, "This is stupid. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Like,
I love judges
you're
like
actually
that.
going
Those
to
are
try
the best.
this?" And I feel like this is kind of how this is going to go down.
Yeah, because that's all it is. It's just a clown case for everyone to run around in circles to see what they can get away with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm just looking through this, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
So-
It'll be interesting.
Yep.
We've gone over, and y'all are dead. No, we're not dead. We're not dead. The chat is still
Oh!
alive. We're all good. So we've gone through the news. We've gone through the games. What does everyone think of the podcast so far? Because this would be pretty much the ending point, even though I think it was less than an hour. Because
It's right around an hour. I'm at an hour and 8 minutes, which is, and I had
Oh,
a
that's
10-minute. I had a
perfect.
10-minute startup, so it was pretty much exactly an hour.
I started.
Yes.
Unless Turtle, Katsa, Fang has any additional information or anything they just want to talk about.
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, if there's anything that anybody else wants to see us do, or maybe how we should do things a little differently, then let us know, and we'll definitely take it into consideration.
Cube World. What is
We are
Cube
here to
World?
serve you.
Oh no.
Cube
Cube
World was meant to be similar to Trove, except it received like 2 updates and then the creator disappeared.
Oh, that sounds
World,
great.
Huh.
Cube World was amazing. I played the hell out of it. It never did receive like a notable update. Like I played it, I grinded through it. There wasn't like quests or anything. It was just exploring like a copy and pasted world, but it was a lot of fun. And the creator, everyone started buying it and supporting it and being like, "Where's our updates?" And the creator was never that dedicated, so he just vanished.
I got my
He's like,
money.
I'm out.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got my money, fuck you guys.
Initiate eject seat.
Yeah.
I'm out.
That's why I don't buy games that are early access.
I should make.
Yeah.
I should make.
I've been
Cube
disappointed
World
by a lot
then.
of games that way.
Make a game just like Cube World, except I would actually commit to it for a whole year, then give up.
Yeah, I mean,
Get
talk
everyone's
about
hopes
ripping
up.
stuff
Right.
off.
Make it seem like you
Trove
care.
is just, yeah,
Yeah, Trove really is just
it's just World of Warcraft and Minecraft, and then ta-da!
World of
And-
Minecraft.
Exactly. But it's a great game, and everyone loves it, and it's merely
it's-
a matter of building on what other people have been successful with.
And it's
can't be sued.
microtransaction type of game, so it's able to support itself and at the same time allow players of all to actually play it for free.
Yeah.
I like it.
so wish microtransactions were around when I was a kid, because there were so many games I couldn't play because I couldn't afford like the $60 price tag.
Yeah.
But if they had been like free to play, oh my gosh, I would have like had such an amazing childhood.
I kind
I
of
mean,
wish.
don't get me wrong, playing Age of Empires in my closeted bedroom every single day was amazing, but I mean, I would have at least had some variety if there was something else.
Two Miss Sweet wants us to play. Wants to see us play and review games.
oh boy.
We
So it'd
could
be like a legit let's play.
we could do that as a separate series probably. I don't think that's something we would do in the podcast maybe.
Yeah, that could be like an adjoining series, like a spin-off,
mean-
and then we could talk about it on the
Yeah,
podcast.
and depending on how we want to format the channels and stuff like that, that's definitely something that we could try to do though.
Yeah,
I mean, if you
I
want,
think I
we
need to fix my computer faster.
Right.
if you want, we could add that after podcasts. Due to the fact that podcasts last only an hour.
Well, how long were you expecting it to last?
I don't know. That's why
Yeah,
I
hour
put
is
it to unknown
perfect.
time.
Yeah, I thought an hour was perfect too.
Yeah, 2-hour podcast drive me nuts. 'cause I'm
We'll talk
I
about
want
it,
to
sweets.
move on with my life.
That's a good thought though. We can definitely try to work that in one way or another. So thanks for throwing that out there.
Yeah, we'll definitely play with that idea and see what happens with it.
There's a lot of good
Sweet.
games coming out. This has been a really good year for games, and next year is looking really good as well. So
I know, I can't even keep up with all of them. Like, there's so many.
Zuz says he heard that they will pick up Cube World again.
I actually,
I'm sure somebody wants to get in on that. 'cause
Strangely
that's
enough-
a money waiting to happen.
oh yeah, I looked up Cube World just a couple days ago because I was playing Trove and it made me think of it. And I checked the creator's Twitter, and he's talking about things he's working on actively. Like
Ooh,
like
When I see it, he said that before. He's like, "Guys, quests coming next month." I think it's been a year and a half.
I didn't say
Well, if he's the
it was
only one
real. I just
programming it, that sounds about
I
right.
believe it was him and his wife when it started, and then everyone bought it, and he's like, threw it out the window.
he needs to hire a couple more people.
it's like the Flappy Bird almost.
It's like an unsuccessful version of Unturned.
Right.
Unturned's like Nelson Sexton making a game, and it's ridiculously successful, but Unturned's free, and he didn't give up on it.
Yeah,
Yeah. So if you want something successful, you might as well just keep going.
stick through it. Get
Yeah.
more money.
Yeah. Oh, it is a lot of responsibility. If you're not prepared for it, I can see how that would initiate panic attack. Like, I can't handle this. It's too much.
Yeah. Cool.
Hopefully, one day I will learn how to make games, and then I can upload my own games.
All right.
And in the we want more turtles.
I told you about that gaming class, didn't I?
Gaming
Okay.
class. I mean, I'm majoring in game design. However,
Oh, there you go.
it's going to take a while since I'm taking one class now, and I got to make sure I finish this core and lower
Yeah,
levels of
technically-
IT class.
Yeah, that's the thing about doing it like the college traditional way is it takes so long. But you do get a more in-depth knowledge of everything, but then you have to basically relearn stuff as far as real-world applications. But
And
you
that's
do
fine
learn a
because right now I'm already busy. I don't think I can add let's make a game time.
Yeah. All right,
yeah,
time to
that's
build a
kinda
video
where
game.
I am too.
Like, there's also not just making the game. There's also the entire. Let's learn how to do step A, B, C, all the way to Dr. Seuss alphabet.
Yeah. Well, and that's like I was teaching myself app development, and there's this app I wanted to make, but then when I actually learned what I needed to make it, and I sat down to do it, I found out that in order to do the database that I needed to learn all these database systems. So I learned that, and then I learned that I would have to make it a web-based database. So I'd have to learn web development and how to do the web database in order to then port it over to the mobile app that I wanted to make. So I was like,
Yep.
okay, this is gonna take longer than I thought.
Turtle.
Yeah.
What is your favorite kind of snapping turtle?
Oh God.
How about those
Man, I'm being
giant,
put on the spot.
those mutated 4-foot ones with like where we live?
Common or
Oh.
mud dragon?
Oh, I was thinking alligator, just because it's like could literally take your goddamn arm off.
Yeah, where I'm from, we have alligator
Ah,
snapping
that's a good
turtles that
one.
are literally like 3 or 4 feet long. They're fucking ridiculous.
Holy crap. That'd be
Good
terrifying.
times.
I'm like, my toes!
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah, you don't put your hand anywhere near that thing's face.
You don't even walk near them. Have you ever, like, those things are fast.
There was this like this snapping turtle about. This show was probably about the size of a watermelon, just to put it into perspective. Like, like that width kind of. It wasn't like actually like the size of a that would be an obese turtle.
It's a rather rotund turtle.
Yeah. We were just driving back home, and he was on the side of the road, so we didn't want him to get hit by a car, so we picked him up by the tail and put him on the other side.
Yeah.
That's nice. Did you still have your fingers afterward?
Yeah, they're still here, I think.
Most of them.
Except that one.
Next question is turtle a small turtle or a big turtle?
He's a big turtle.
Or a watermelon turtle?
He's not a watermelon
I'd-
turtle.
I'd have to say, turtle.
All right.
Standard turtle.
Yep. Why is there so many
Turtle.
questions for turtle?
I think it's a lot more interesting than Katsa's X or Fang. I mean,
Turtle.
turtle.
Exactly.
You don't
Yeah,
realize
I've
how
never
much turtle
watched-
stuff there is in the world until you know of turtles.
Did
Then
anyone ever watch the movie Master Disguiser? I think it was called.
Oh, yep, I have.
Turtle.
I haven't watched it, but I've
Exactly.
seen clips of that thing, and now every time I hear turtle, that's the first thing that pops in my head.
What, am I not turtly enough for you?
If you had to pick a color and an animal, what would it be? And this is to everyone. So
Well,
I
I,
think-
want to say chartreuse just because I don't even know what color that is. I just know it sounds fabulous like me. So
fair enough.
I would obviously choose blue wolf.
Oh,
'Cause it sounds so mystifying.
That'd be good with the black dragon. That's good.
I was gonna say, I came up with a really good one, but then I realized it's already been done. Sapphire dragon, and then I remembered the Aragon books, and I was like, oh. So I basically
Saphira
just
was a
want Saphira.
badass, though.
She was. So basically, Saphira is my answer.
Saphira is probably my favorite book character ever.
She's amazing. Like,
Is
gosh, those books made me want a dragon so bad.
I know, right?
Turtle secretly a ninja turtle?
Have you
So
seen...
what color is
that.
his face band?
Okay, Turtle, I hope you're thinking of the same thing I'm thinking of here.
uh,
We're ninjas!
oh god.
Turtle is not a ninja.
You see, I was, but that was my retirement. I never recovered from that work accident.
We were playing a custom super hostile map, and we had just finished. This is in Minecraft. We just finished cutting through this wave of enemies, and we ended up getting like separated on opposite ends of this giant room. And finally, we thought we'd killed everything, so we stop and look at each other. And Turtle goes, "We're ninjas!" And then a spider falls out of the sky and kills him.
It was so good.
Just on cue,
Oh,
just
shoot.
one hit and he died, and his stuff exploded everywhere.
And we just both lost it.
So no, he's not a
And-
ninja.
The last question for today's podcast is, what's your favorite book series and or TV show?
Well, I have a lot of favorites, but right now, my favorite series that the third book just came out is I think it's called the Stone Sky trilogy. It's like starts like Obelisk Gate, the 5th season. No, the Broken Earth. That's what it was, and it is freaking phenomenal, and I recommend it to everyone because it's just amazing. It's like everything you love about fantasy, but then it's a completely different world than anything that's you usually encounter in fantasy, and meets apocalypse, meets everything. It's just so good.
Well, probably my favorite book series is the Inheritance series, which is Aragon and Eldest and all of those, because it's very fantasy based and it's almost cliche in a way, but it's cliche in a good way. It's very in depth. There's a ridiculous amount of detail, and you get a really good feel for everything. The characters are fantastic. I always loved that series. And I don't know, my favorite TV show, I mean, probably has to be Attack on Titan, honestly, just because of how quickly you get attached to characters with almost no screen time at all. Like you see a character for 30 seconds and then they die and then you miss them. It's weird.
That's true. I never noticed that.
Yeah.
Because I've only seen one episode and I was very upset with who died.
Right.
I was like, no.
Yeah, it pulls on the feels pretty hard.
Yeah.
So.
I have my favorite book, ever since I've gone through the entire book with my entire 7th grade class, called Unwind, which is a book where some point in the future there's a new system the government put in place called Unwind, where if you have a child under the age of 18 that you are not happy with, you can have them unwind, and that's sending them to this facility where they will be taken care of to an extent of health-wise. And once they're ready to be harvested, they cut up their limbs and take out their blood and cut up their brain and etc. and every organ, so that if someone else needs that organ, they can give it. So if you're missing part of a brain, they give you that brain. If you're missing part of a lung, they give you that lung. Missing an arm.
Organ farm. Oh god.
That sounds fascist.
Basically, and the main character found out about it early and made his parents regret it by doing things such as getting good grades, doing chores, and saying that if he had a little more time, he'll sure he can do better. And his parents started getting in tears, and his little brother didn't know. So he was also like doing things with his little brother, but after it was getting to near the end, the main character realized that doing all that doesn't make a difference, because even though he made his parents feel bad, he's still screwed.
He's still going to the meat grinding.
So, but eventually it becomes this whole thing where he gets away, and there's other characters added. There's explosions using humans as the explosion. It's great. It's a great book. I highly recommend people to actually read it, or at least listen to it audioly, because that's what I did in 7th grade. We had a we had a thing to
audiobook.
It wasn't even an audiobook. It was just we actually had a disc that would play the sound so we could actually listen to it.
Well, the disc version is still an audio.
Yeah, sure. It was just, at the time, audiobooks was not a thing, and I don't want to mention anything audiobook-wise because they're not sponsoring me.
Audiobooks have been a thing since cassettes.
Yeah, true.
Well, the specific grand master of audiobook website that we're not going to disclose at the time being is not it's not the beginning of audiobooks.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
My favorite TV show, it's between probably SAO and DxD, High School DxD.
I haven't seen that one. I've seen SAO.
You're not ever gonna watch High School DxD.
You like fan service?
It's an ecchi harem. That's basically what it is.
Yeah. Do you like anime boobs?
I watch Game of Thrones.
It's a really good one though. So yeah, those are my two. Who's next? Turtle?
What was the question?
Favorite book and or TV show?
Oh, right. Oh, I don't watch TV and I don't read books.
Cool, that cuts that down.
That makes that easy.
Well, I watched
Or-
TV for the first time in 3 years, like last week. So
Wow.
Well, there's a question specifically to you, so I guess we can
God
get you
damn
a
it.
question. Does Turtle like the beach or the lake more?
well,
I mean, he's playing a game about Vietnam.
Although I was thinking turtles
So-
would get washed away in the ocean, be like, no, unless it's a big ocean turtle.
Right.
unless
Now
it's a
that I
sea
think about it.
turtle.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I just thought that as I was thinking.
Yeah, sea turtles exist.
Yeah, remember when Turtle said he spends his whole life on his computer? He wasn't lying.
No, I don't have anything better to do. So
I can't believe I forgot about Finding Nemo. I'm appalled.
oh man, that's my favorite not TV series, but everything.
Dude.
All right, so we'll give Turtle that last question, and we'll end the stream here.
This was fun. Thanks for tuning in, people.
Yeah, it's good times.
Experience.
Like we mentioned before, if you guys have any other ideas or suggestions, then we'll more than willingly look into those. I like the Q&A thing at the end. That could be kind of a fun thing we could throw in if we find time to be a bit short.
Yeah, this I usually
Yeah.
would do. I usually do Q&A, but the only problem with why I don't is because usually there's no one here that have questions.
Right.
So
If it's a
the fact
thing.
that the fact that people were actually randomly just asking questions was pretty
Fucking
cool.
people had questions.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, awesome.
All right, awesome.
Ooh.
But Turtle, yeah, your Q&A, your question. Lake or beach?
Oh God. I just got asked this and I hadn't thought about it too much. I'm gonna have to say the lake.
Okay.
All right, there's your question. Dean.
It has been said.
Are you happy now? All right,
They will
thank you
never be
everyone for
satisfied.
watching. Everyone that are
Yeah, thank you.
in my stream, thank you. And as always, stay weird. Yeah, everyone in Fang's stream, I'll let him do his outro.
All right. Alrighty. All right. Good time, guys. A lot of fun. We'll definitely try to keep this up every Friday,
Alrighty,
hopefully.
alright.
All right. So yeah. Until then, I will see everybody next time. Bye bye.
See you
Bye.
then.
Bye.